Got lots.
Okay. All right. Good seeing you.
Audio test. Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer for the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, July 12th, 2023. Welcome to the new fiscal year, everyone. First session back. For those members that are joining us through the Zoom application this morning, just wanted to do a quick audio check that you can hear us. I'm going to go ahead and select Jay Wong. Good morning to you, Jay. Can you just confirm you can hear us on the Zoom application?
I can hear you. I stay up late.
You can hear us great. Thank you so much. We are getting a little bit of a feedback on our end. We'll try to adjust that acoustics on our end. But I'm glad to hear that the Zoom applicants, or I'm sorry, the Zoom folks that are on the line can hear us clearly. For a quick list of presenters for today, item number 1, Hui Wang. Item 2, Lindsay Naish. Item 3, Rashanak Varjavan. I hope I got that right, Varjavan. Item 4, Patrick Schmidt. Item 5, myself, Michael Cox, and John Minix will present. Item number 6, Asia Jackson. Item 7, Georgia Spindola. Item 8, no presenter required. And item number 9, we have Linda McGlinchey and Melissa Savage. For the Bureau representatives that are on the line through the Zoom application, Uri Jimenez, Victor Cortez, Jay Wong, and Gerald Watson, good morning to you all. Thank you all for being here this morning. Should the board have any questions for your Bureau, we will open up the audio lines for you. Apologies for those that are listening to us on council audio or even here in the boardroom. We are getting some feedback and we're trying to do the adjustments on our end to control for that. For members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda, if you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 if you're joining us through a landline or smartphone device. If you're joining us through the Zoom application, there's a raise hand icon located at the lower right-hand side of your screen. You can go ahead and click that button at this time or icon at this time. If you're joining us live here in person in City Hall, there are speaker cards located at the back end of the room. You can go ahead and complete that for us at this time and go ahead and submit that speaker card to us before we begin. We should get started in the next 30 seconds. Again, this is for members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment. If you can please raise your hand, press *9, or click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. One person has raised their hand. John, if you can please unmute your microphone at this time. Please let us know which item you'd like to speak on.
John Corcoran from Manhole Adjusting Inc. Item 6, if required, on any questions from the board.
You're on item 6?
Yes.
And just to confirm I heard you correctly, we're having some Zoom audio issues and we're trying to control for the feedback. But John, did you say that you're here if you have any questions?
If the board has any questions, I'm here to answer any questions that they may have awarding the contract award to Manhole Adjusting Inc. Maintenance hole resetting sewer storm drain project.
Okay, so only if there's any questions.
If the board has any questions, we're here and ready to answer any questions that the board may have.
Okay, thank you. Last call for any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand, submit your speaker cards at this time. We will get started in the next 5 to 10 seconds. See no other hands raised. President Garcia, we do have 4 commissioners in the room, and I can go ahead and get started with the audio recording for you.
Yes, please.
President Garcia, you are now in record mode.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, July 12, 2023. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Again, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Establishing roll call and quorum for today, we have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Reyes. President Garcia, you do have a quorum at this time. President Garcia, at this time, we have one person on the line. If your board has any questions on item number 6, again, this is the consultant on item number 6, should the board have any questions for you. We do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section. We have no speakers for general public comment as well.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Given that we do not have any public speaker comment cards for general public comments, public comment is now officially closed. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for Wednesday, June 21st, 2023. Is there a second to my motion?
Second.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Wednesday, June 21st, 2023.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to those that are joining us via virtual platform and those that are here. I was trying to make connection with the, can you guys hear us? It comes out clear? Okay, I hear a little echo. Do you guys hear it too? Okay, sorry, we're trying to test out the whole audio and so forth. You hear it too? Yeah, I hear it, but the audience doesn't seem to hear it, so. Okay, thank you very much for being our what is it, our test samplers. Thank you, everyone. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. We had a short recess all of last week, and we are back. Welcome to fiscal year for us here at the city, fiscal year 2023, 2024, the start of that, and that equals new projects, new funding streams, new contracts, and new programs. So for us at Public Works, this is an exciting time. Thank you, everyone. I know we're going to go back and forth on this. But with that said, we're happy to be back and we're happy to get started and do the business that we're here to do. And with that, I will move us along to the first item on today's agenda, which is the request for Bureau Engineering in Council District 12. This is a relinquishment of rights in Future Alley, Lot 15, track number 20409-16141-16151, Nordoff Street. Recommending the board to, one, execute the attached document relinquishing any and all rights to the City of Los Angeles for public alley purposes within the future alley shown on the attached Exhibit A, subject to following condition. Petitioner shall make satisfactory arrangements with the Real Estate Division of the Bureau of Engineering at 1149 South Broadway, 6th floor, Los Angeles, California, 90015, with respect to payment of document recording fees. 2, request the city clerk to attest the signatures of the Public Works Commissioners. And 3, instruct the RED of Bureau of Engineering to record the executed document in the office of the county recorder when the condition in recommendation number 1 has been satisfied. And this morning here we have Ms. Wong. Good morning. How are you, Hugh? Nice to see you.
Good morning, President. Good morning, Commissioners. It's very nice to see you all as well. Before you is the request for you to execute various documents for the relinquishment of the Future Alley. The petitioner is the representative and owner of the property at 16141 Nordoff Street. It is shown on page 2, the aerial photos of the location. The Future Alley in question was dedicated to the city via a tract map, which is a subdivision map many years ago. Under certain provisions that the city operates under, we are allowed via process and approval from the Board of Public Works to relinquish certain future dedications. In this case, the applicant has fulfilled all the requirements where the map that they recorded that provided the dedication is more than 25 years old. The Future Alley in this format was never accepted as a public right-of-way by the city in any formal way. There was never any usage or improvements within the area for its dedicated purpose, meaning that an alley was never built in that space. Given that those conditions were all fulfilled under existing processes and laws that we act under, the City Council has provided you the authority to allow the relinquishment and for the Bureau of Engineering to process all the required paperwork to clear that encumbrance onto the property title. Exhibit A gives you the parcel layout as well as the aerial location of the alley in question. And this is all I have before you today. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you so much, Huey, for that. Any questions, colleagues? None? I don't see any. No questions from the team? I don't have any questions. This is pretty standard. We do this a lot, right?
Yes, it is a very standard administrative process. How the procedure and the code is affected on this process, it does require the board to act, and the board can only act while at the public meeting.
Correct.
Therefore, this routine item is presented before you as is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that, Huey. Given that there are any questions, is there Dr. Davis?
In terms of the agency, or is it the resident that is going to have the alley? Is it a resident or is it a business?
I am unsure of that. I don't have the code of the land use on site, but what I could tell you that may help you partially on that question is that the title doesn't change, meaning that the ownership of that space is existing after the city relinquishes that future dedication. The future easement is removed, but the land remains the same under the same ownership. So that means that because that future street or future alley is no longer there, the space you can think of as returning to private use. They're entitled to pull a building permit and not have to worry about that future alley in that location.
Okay. So I just did not know, in fact, if the private use is adjacent to an existing property that was either residential or was it business. I was just, for the sake of information, interested to know that, but we can find that out at a later date.
Okay. One thing we do review is how it impacts existing adjacent lots, meaning we do ensure that the relinquishment will not landlock anyone adjacent to it and prevent them from any access or legal access to their site. So in this case, that was vetted as part of the process.
Okay, not a problem. I support the action that we have. I just wanted more data in terms of who was the person or the entity that was the beneficiary of our action. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Davis. Any other questions? Vice President Villegas?
Wanted to put for the public record, looks like figure 1 on our attachments, looks like it's a business. And behind it is the question, it's a corner lot and it's the alley that's just behind it. And it appears, and perhaps, you could give us, exact details, but it appears just from figure 1 and figure 2 that there's a residential home next to, or just adjacent to the business, but the one that we are considering today is a business.
Thank you for that, Vice President Villegas. Any other question? Hearing none. Any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Is there a second? I'll second. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos is the first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Huey, for that. Moving on to item number 2, this is a request in all council districts. This is a revised budget task order solicitation, task number 12 to Zoma's bill delay project. Recommending the board to 1, approve the revised funding amounts for task order number 12, and 2, authorize the city engineer to issue notices to proceed, authorizing work not to exceed the revised funding of level of $11,350,000. And who do we have here this morning? Lindsay, I have you. Good morning.
Good morning, President. Good morning, Board of Public Works. Lindsay Naish, GIS and Mapping Division for the Bureau of Engineering. The board report before you recommends the board approve the revised funding amounts for task order solicitation number 12 for the Bill Delay project and to authorize the city engineer to issue notices to proceed not to exceed $11,350,000. For some background on the funding for this project, we have 2 types of funding we've been utilizing for this project. We have 7% funding, which is in the Engineering, Equipment, and Training Trust Fund. We call it 7% because we charge a surcharge on our permits and our processes for development services in the Bureau of Engineering. We've also been utilizing 3% funding. We call this 3% funding. It is the Development Services Trust Fund, and it is generated from a surcharge on all development services citywide. In 2016, that surcharge was raised from 2% to 3% specifically to fund the Bill Delay project. The purpose of the project is to implement a centralized, automated, easy-to-use portal where a customer of the city's development services can quickly and easily be updated on the status of all of their city permits. In order to get there, several departments and bureaus are individually tasked to work on their departmental projects to prepare the connections that are necessary for compatibility with the BuildLE portal. Meanwhile, the multi-departmental portion of the project encompasses portal enabling work, multi-departmental applications, the portal itself, and its components. Task order solicitation number 12 provides staff augmentation services, which have enabled us to act swiftly in the development of these applications and to respond to emergency orders. Task order solicitation number 12 also includes staff augmentation for BOE-specific web applications, which will eventually interact with the BuildLE data warehouse and schema. Currently, we are working diligently to upgrade our existing web applications to a programming framework called ASP.NET, which is more secure than the legacy Cold Fusion framework. So in order to keep up with security needs and project milestones, we need to utilize consultant staff augmentation for these efforts. Task order solicitation number 12 was issued to SOMAS by the Board of Public Works in April of 2021 with a budget authority at that time of $12 million. However, we had only been able to figure out so much funding, and so we're still not actually able to ask the Board of Public Works to increase the notice to proceed not to exceed at that amount. We currently have an authority to issue notices to proceed not to exceed $10,350,000, and that is from when I reported to the board in February of this year following council action on 3% funding for this project. The Bureau of Engineering is recommending the board approve the revised funding amounts and authorize the city engineer to issue an additional $1 million from our 7% funds in notices to proceed, bringing the total not to exceed amount to $11,350,000. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have for me.
Thank you, Lindsay, for that report. Thank you so much. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas.
Thank you, and thank you for your report. It's always thorough. Just, really quick, you are coming back, for a not to exceed amount for this contract. And while I realize that it is of urgency because it is including all of our affordable housing projects that we are going to be including in this list amongst other work. I'm wondering how often will you come back asking for just an additional allowance?
Sure. At this time, we have reported to the City Council that we're currently in our year 2 of the project, and we anticipate this will be at least 5 years, so at least 3 more years. I'm currently drafting a report for City Council funding requests, so following that, we'll be coming back to you for board authorization to increase the task order solicitation total authorization. So we'll be coming back to you then. So it'll be at least on an annual basis following our report to the City Council. This is additional funding that's more specific and more geared towards the Bureau of Engineering specifically. So this is kind of separate from that, but we'll be coming back at least annually to you for that.
Okay, so there'll be additional tasks for the same company, for SOMAS?
It's the same task order. We're going to be keeping the same task order, at least we hope to. We need to come back to you in 2024 to continue the pre-qualified on-call contract for civil engineering services. Assuming we could continue that, we will continue on task order solicitation number 12.
And from this, just really quick, and you can possibly give me the answer to this just on email if you don't have it. On this as-needed list, as it expires, do you know when that expires?
The pre-qualified on-call?
Yes.
Yeah, next October of 2024.
Okay, all right.
Yes, as far as I know, it's a different division handling that, but we do plan to come to you to try to extend this contract. That's my understanding.
Oh, is it to extend the pre-qualified on-call list?
That's right, for civil engineering services, yes.
Okay, instead of going out for a new one, instead of preparing a new list?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Reyes?
Thank you for your report. I just want to piggyback a little bit on what VP Villegas has said. I'm just curious, what other funding sources are you thinking about in addition to what is going to be proposed to City Council? Because this is a multi-departmental effort. Is there an effort to really look at what other departments that are involved in this project bringing to the table?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. So for this report specifically, we're asking for the authorization to appropriate $1 million in 7% funding, and this funding is going to go directly towards BOE department-specific application upgrades. 3% funding, as we call it, is Development Services Trust Fund funding, and that is citywide. So that is a surcharge on all city permits and clearances across the board. So essentially, that's a pot of money that's available for any department if they want to go to the city council and ask for that funding. They could submit a funding request separately. We, as the Bureau of Engineering, do lead an effort where we put together a update on the project and we report to the council with a funding request in it.
Okay.
But any department, we reach out to every Build LA department to see if they want to take part in that, but they always have the option to approach the city council and tap into that 3% funding that way.
Okay, that's good to know. So we're not settled with the majority of the costs. And then the other question I have is the opportunity for sub-consultants in this project. I know there are already a few of them, but if we are going to expand and build on Build LA,
Yeah, so
what does that look like?
Yeah, so we have set our business inclusion program pledges, or our consultant has, SOMAS has, and most recently they completed task order solicitation number 53 through the Development Services Program, and they actually did a really great job with their sub-consultant outreach and their pledges on that task order. This is under the same project manager, so we're really confident and we're really happy with how they're performing so far. We actually found out last week they're going to be bringing on a sub-consultant that's a disabled veteran business enterprise, so we'll be bringing that in, so that will help our percentages as well. I can tell you right now, the pledge is 18% for minority business enterprises, we are at 21%. For women business enterprises, the pledge is 4%, we're at 10.5%. For disabled veteran business enterprises, the pledge is 3%, we are at 0%. For emerging business enterprises, the pledge is 8%, and we are at 1%. And for small business enterprises, the pledge is 25%, and we are currently at 24%. We feel that overall they're doing well. We continue to work with them on their sub-consultant utilization. Thank you.
It's good that we're on track to
Yes.
meet our requirements. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindsay, for that. Just for the record, thus far, can you state what outcomes or what product has come out of this?
Yeah, so the two Build LA applications that we have built so far for Build LA on the Build LA server are the appointment system and virtual counter system, as well as the affordable housing tracking system, which was a result of Executive Directive number 1 earlier this year. So those are the two that we've built. That's in addition to all of the other departmental upgrades to applications that we've been making, to developing our data warehouse and schema, and everything else that we need in order to set up Build LA and make all these applications compatible with it.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, any other questions, colleagues? Seeing none. Any objections? Fahid? Seeing none. All right, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, we have a first by VP Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Yes, absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 3, this is a request in Council District 9, and for this we have Mr. Varjavan. Oh, Ms. Varjavan. I'm gonna skip 1 and 2, but I'm gonna read 3 and 4 for the record, and then you can go back and kind of give us your full report. Okay, good morning. This is item number 3 in Council District 9 for a street closure on Hooper Avenue between Slauson Avenue and 58th Street. Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority Rail-to-Rail Active Transportation Corridor Project. Recommending the board, recommendation number 3, to approve the request to temporarily close Hooper Avenue between Slauson Avenue and 58th Street for 95 calendar days, starting Monday, July 17, 2023, at 7 a.m. and ending Thursday, October 19, 2023, at 7 p.m., subject to conditions identified within this report. And 4, approve the peak hour exemption request to allow construction within the public right-of-way during weekday morning peak hours, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and weekday afternoon peak hours, 3:30 to 7 p.m., starting Monday, July 17, 2023, and ending Thursday, October 19, 2023, for Hooper Avenue between Slauson Avenue and 58th Street, subject to the conditions identified within this report. And this morning, we have Ms. Varjavan here. Welcome.
Thank you, President Garcia. Good morning, Commissioners. Roshanak Varjavan, Bureau of Engineering, Metro Transit Division. Metro's Rail-to-Rail project is a 5-mile street improvement project converting an existing unused rail right-of-way into a bike and pedestrian path connecting several rail and bus lines. The purpose of the project is to provide a safe, dedicated walking and cycling corridor to promote healthy neighborhoods and linkages between local communities, schools, shopping employment centers, transit hubs, and other key destinations. This request is to close Hooper Avenue north of the intersection of Slauson Avenue for 95 calendar days from Monday, July 17, 2023 to Thursday, October 19, 2023. This closure will be used to reconstruct the sidewalk, install new curb ramps, bike path, new race crosswalk, pavement, bus pad, traffic signal, and landscaping on Hooper Avenue north of Slauson Avenue. The major submittals for the work under this closure have been approved by BOE and other public work bureaus. There are no unresolved notices of noncompliance issued by BCA. The worksite traffic control plan for the closure has been approved by LADOT. As part of evaluating this request, staff from BOE's Environmental Management Division reviewed the environmental documentation from Metro. The project and requested closure is categorically exempt. Metro Construction Relations has informed the public of this planned closure through a series of stakeholder briefings and community meetings. No unhoused individual have been identified in the closure area. In addition, Metro's Construction Relations has been informing and updating the adjacent stakeholders, including the nearby educational and religious institutions, including Hooper Avenue Elementary School, LA Academy Middle School, First Missionary Baptist Church, and St. Odelia Catholic Church and School. City Council District 9 has concurred with this street closure. That concludes my report. We have staff from BOE, LADOT, and Metro available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for your report, Ms. Varjavand. Any questions, colleagues? Give us a second. Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for bringing this forward to us. Just for the public's, education, can you please just explain how your outreach was done so that impacted businesses or homes could be aware of this project and street closure?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Perla Berry with Metro. Outreach was performed via in-person meetings with the immediate stakeholders, residents, and businesses. Also, notices were distributed to a quarter mile from the impact zone, and we reached out to the religious institutions and schools within a mile from the actual impact zone, on every direction.
Thank you. So it looks like it's just one block on Hooper, Slauson to 58th?
The impact itself, yes. The outreach was further north because we went all the way a mile north to reach out to all the religious and schools that are north, south, east, and west, a mile from the impact zone.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. And the street closure, is that the street closure on both sides?
It's a full street closure just north of Slauson at the right-of-way. And basically, it's just south of, I think it's 58 on the north.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
half a block.
Okay. I see it on the map. I'm just wondering if it's a full street closure.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Commissioner Reyes?
So I just have a question on about the unhoused individuals. I know there's nobody that's currently being impacted there, but I see that Metro is going to give out a card with the resources.
Yes.
Can it be more personal than that? Because do we expect the unhoused individual to really know what to do with that card of resources? How is that going to pan out if ever there is any unhoused individual that's found in that area?
We basically reach out to them in person. We meet with them and provide them with the card, and we're able to help them if they need to make a phone call when we're there with them. So the outreach itself is ongoing for the duration of the work, especially if it extends. So we need to make sure that the unhoused, the residents and the businesses are on the know. So we do maintain constant communication with everybody to include the unhoused population.
So Metro will assist in person for that specific individual.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I want to know.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, I had a follow-up question in terms of the resources that Metro provides for the unhoused. Do we also coordinate those efforts with the city's existing operation? Obviously, you know the goal of the city, the Inside Safe goal. And so it appears that we are, as it relates to this project, providing some resources to also impact that very significant community for which we have targeted to improve services. Are we coordinating the efforts that you're doing in this project with the existing operation that the city has in place with Inside Safe? And would that be of help to do so?
We do. There is a department within Metro, and we reach out to them so that way we are able to reach out and get them as many resources as possible for them to assist the unhoused population.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Davis. You probably answered this question's back to Metro, sorry. You probably answered this, but are there any it doesn't look like it looks industrial-ish to me, but are there any businesses that are going to be impacted?
We have only one business that will be impacted by it because they are within feet of the closure itself. However, the team with Metro is working to make sure that we maintain the most amount of access to them as possible. And they do have an alternative entrance point to their location. So just because of the proximity to the closure itself and the fact that there's a need for the driveway to be redone, they will be impacted. We have been in communication with the property owner and the business owner about this. They know that we will maintain their secondary access available most of the time. And then the primary will be maintained as needed or as much as we were able to.
Okay, what type of business is that?
They build basically sets for filming, for movies and things like that. Movie sets.
Oh, movie sets?
Yes, so
Okay.
they build them there and then they ship them out they take them to where they need them.
Okay. I usually, sorry, the echo is a little loud. Oh, I usually pay more attention if it's like a restaurant or a clothing store or something that somebody has to go in there on a daily basis.
We don't have any business like that has patrons coming and going. All the other ones would be either further south, which their access would not be impacted, but right on the impact zone, we don't have any retail or commercial businesses that would be impacted by this closure.
Okay. What about the bus route? Has there been enough notification that it's going to change or?
We have been in contact with bus stops in terms of the changes. I believe the one bus line that will be impacted is on Slauson. It's the westbound buses. So those would be basically abandoned, and they would move them up to further east and west of where they're at, just because there's no sidewalk on the northern side of Slauson.
Oh, yeah, there isn't.
So it's, for safety reasons, you cannot just move them either direction. You have to basically go to the first east or west of the closure itself, because it's safer than what the other options.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that if there was a bus stop there, that we give constituents enough time that they can modify their routes before they have to go to work on Monday. Thank you. I don't see any other questions. Any objections? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith?
President Garcia, I just want to, just, for clarity of the record, were you skipping reading recommendations 1 and 2?
Yes, we're doing now 1 through 4. I just didn't read them out loud.
Okay, I just wanted to make very clear that what we are taking action on, so.
Thank you so much, Ms. Choi. So just for the record, we are taking action on recommendations 1 through 4. I just didn't read it for the record because it's super long. And we would all be here an extra 10 minutes.
Well, we might paraphrase it in the
Yeah,
future.
she did. She
Okay,
did. She
okay,
did.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So anything else? Hearing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas, and thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 4, this is a request in Council District 3 for a construction order to Jilk Heavy Construction Inc., Emergency Pre-Qualified On-Call Geotechnical Structural Construction Services List, Escobedo Drive Emergency Bulkhead Project, recommending the board to 1, approve a construction order for the Escobedo Drive 5159 Emergency Bulkhead Project to Jilk Heavy Construction Inc. in the amount of $566,004 with a not to exceed limit of $679,205, including contingency. And 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the construction order after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And this morning we have Mr. Smith here. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Yep, good morning, thank you. Patrick Schmidt, Bureau of Engineering, Geotechnical Engineering Division. So this is for the award of the Escondido Emergency Bulkhead Project. As you know, the Bureau of Engineering administers the Emergency Pre-Qualified On-Call Geotechnical Structural Contractors List to provide emergency and necessity geotechnical and structural construction services for repair, replacement, and/or construction of public works projects. On February 25th, 2019, the board approved a list of 9 qualified contractors. Contracts with these contractors were executed on March 29th, 2019. They have a term of 5 years and will expire on March 28th, 2024. So this report is for the emergency need to restore lateral support to a portion of Escondido Drive. This is located in a residential hillside area, approximately a third of a mile southeast of the intersection of Ventura Boulevard and Canoga Avenue in Woodland Hills. At this location, the downslope side of the street is laterally supported by a descending slope and an approximately 55-year-old, 44-foot long, 6-foot tall steel beam and wood lagging bulkhead. As a result of the significant rains in January of 2023, an approximately 17-foot wide by 6 to 8 foot deep erosion gully or washout developed on the northeast side of the street. Consequently, the northern end of the existing bulkhead was damaged and the road was undermined, leading to collapse of some of the pavement and curb and gutter, which necessitated the closure of the road. The proposed project will benefit the public by increasing safety and will facilitate the reopening of the road at this location. This project will construct a new bulkhead to provide lateral support for the roadway. The bulkhead will be about 88 feet in length, 4.5 to 12 feet in height, will consist of 12 soldier piles with precast concrete lagging panels. The scope of work also includes removal of a portion of the damaged existing bulkhead, construction of new asphalt pavement, concrete curb and gutter, and will include the installation of a metal beam guardrail. On May 9, 2023, bids for the project were solicited from the contractors on the pre-qualified emergency contractors list. On May 18th, 2023, 4 bids were received, of which Joke was the low bidder. Joke's bid in the amount of $644,694 was 8.07% below the city engineer's estimate of $701,310. Due to the emergency nature of the work and the safety hazard posed by the washout, a preliminary construction order was issued to Joke on May 24, 2023, in the amount of $300,000, which is within the city engineer's authority to initiate the construction. Also, considering the emergency nature of the project and the uncertainty of procuring precast concrete lagging panels in a timely manner to facilitate the emergency construction, the bid documents included both precast concrete lagging panels and cast-in-place concrete lagging. These both serve the same purpose. The contractor's bids that were submitted were based on the inclusion of both alternatives. Award of the project was with the precast concrete lagging panel alternative, and this was selected in view of the lower cost that was submitted by the contractor and the selected contractor's ability to acquire the precast concrete panels in a timely manner to facilitate the emergency repair schedule. Thus, the award amount of the project is lower than Joke's total bid amount. Thus, staff has recommended that the board execute construction order for this project with Joke in the amount of $566,004 and with a not to exceed limit of $679,205, which includes contingency. Funding for the project in the amount of $679,205 is available in Measure M Local Return Special Fund, Fund number 59C, Department 94, Appropriation Unit number 94, WV 78. That concludes my presentation of this report. Available for any questions. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for your report this morning. Appreciate it. Dr. Davis?
I recognize that this is in fact an emergency and that some of the work has already taken place. Have we completed the work as of yet? How much additional time do you think will ensue before the completion is realized?
The completion of this project should be late September, early October.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any other questions, colleagues? Commissioner Corson?
Thank you. 2 questions. One you're going to maybe surprised about. We always acknowledge when, and we're always happy when the bids come in lower than the estimate, but it's a large gap between the lowest bidder, the estimate, and the highest bidder. Why was that? And I would have a second question, but I know this is an emergency order from 2 months ago. So just instead, if you can give us an update on what progress has been made in the last 2 months when this was approved or when the $300,000 was allocated, and if there has been any cost overruns or any other changes.
Yeah, the bid amount was, the Joke's bid was 8% below the city engineer's estimate. And in my mind, that's not too far off, but it was emergency repair. There were some unknowns associated with some of these emergency repair projects. And we're doing the best we can, but this one, next week there's a, next Wednesday, there's one that our estimate was much higher than the bids that came in. So we can talk about that next week. But so what happened was, and the reason we wanted to get the construction order issued was the precast concrete panels, they do take time. The 2 critical components of these bulkhead projects are the steel beams and the precast concrete panels. And they take time to get fabricated and delivered to the site. That's why we wanted to get started on that, get it awarded to the contractors so they could start procuring the materials. And they've done that now. And they're physically starting construction now, which, as I said a minute ago, we should be done by late September or October. I hope that answered your question. If not, I can try to elaborate.
Well, the elaboration really I wanted to know was cost. Like you have the breakdown of the bids received and the differences, but if there was any other changes encroaching on the contingency so far, or if everything has gone as planned.
No, we at this point in time, we don't anticipate using much of the contingency. Typically, our projects are fairly thorough in their design. Now, some of these were expedited. I'm just looking back at the bids. Joke's bid was 8.07% below our city engineer's estimate. The second lowest bid was 0.52% above the estimate. So of the 4 bids received, Jilks was below our estimate and the other three were above the estimate. So in my mind, I think our staff did a good job on the bid estimate on this one. But yeah, we don't anticipate using a lot of the contingency. We just like to have it in case there's unknowns anytime we go into this type of construction and emergency nature. So we do request it.
Any other questions? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Schmidt, for bringing this to us. Just a question, since we have this project before us for emergency bulkhead project just on Escobedo Drive. Will that effort be enough for any kind of slope or erosion? I'm asking just on, coming on the heels of the news that we've heard this week on Rolling Hills Estate, just losing so many homes, and we continuously do bulkhead as a method for us to retain, slopage.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I completely understood the question.
Is this technology going to be enough for homes not to be able to slope?
Yes, this technology is one of our, in my mind, one of our better technologies. Some of the other options would be like the slope repair. Unfortunately, that requires going down further down the slope to start near the bottom and work your way up to make the repair. And that would involve going onto private property. So these bulkhead projects, the benefit of them, they're isolated next to the road within the public right-of-way. So it saves us the challenges of dealing with private property owners. Adjacent to this bulkhead are two undeveloped lots, so there were no homes impacted immediately adjacent to the bulkhead. The erosion did create erosion gully that went down the slope and impacted a home further away. And I'm sure there will be a claim submitted for that for the cleanup.
Okay. Well, this is where we're at today. So I just wanted to put that on the record. We don't know what the weather will be like in the future. Okay.
We don't, but the bulkhead projects are, like I said, I think they're definitely the most cost-effective means to deal with these issues. The on-call contractors we've had on the current contract, which is expiring in about a year, and past ones, they're very well versed in this type of construction, and we even in the emergency nature of this, and having bids due in less than 2 weeks, we still got 4 bids from 4 of the 9. Which is common. We have 9 on-call contractors, and typically we only get 3 to 5 bids on any given project.
Okay. I just wanted to put that on the public record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Davis? Oh, got it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes to approve item number 4 and move it forward and forthwith.
Thank you. Let's start at the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Moving on to item number 5, this is a request in Council District 9 for emergency newest abatement of vacant lot 116 East 59th Place. And it's an update that we will hear. And Dr. Campos, will you give us that update?
Absolutely. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, just providing 2 quick updates on this nuisance abatement. One, there was communication with the property owner's vested authorized person to discuss this item with us, and that person has responded, and they are proposing a cleanup date the week of July 31st. The next thing that we would need to do is just coordinate with LAPD, also our Bureau of Street Services and our sanitation crew, just to be there for enforcement purposes, simply because we want to make sure that the cleanup is done to our standards and that it satisfies what we need to clear out or close out this nuisance abatement on our end. In addition to that, the second report back on this item is that we have connected the property owners with the planning department to discuss a potential future use of the property, and that is to convert it into a parking lot. Again, it's a permit application that needs to go through. It's a lengthy process, but nonetheless, we have connected them, introduced them to the DCP team, the planning department's team, and hopefully that will continue forward for the future. But in terms of the cleanup, the week of July 31st is the scheduled cleanup date.
Very nice. Sir, how are you?
Fine yourself. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, just because I was coming here, I went and inspected the location. There has been some cleanup there. There are 2 vehicles on the backside of the lot, but a lot of that stuff is gone.
Okay,
Most of the stuff on the sidewalk is gone. There is some cleanup that needs to happen just on the inside, but the majority of it is clean.
okay,
So that, they'll have to finish it up, but there has been some progress made. And I
Very
just want
nice.
you guys to know that.
Yeah, since Mr. Minix also mentioned about the cleanups in the vehicles, in one of the vehicle removals, part of the fence was taken down and it was not erected. So we have reached out to the property owners. We've asked them to put it back in place. That opening has created an opportunity for other vehicles to come back in. So it's in and out. But as Mr. Minix said, there has been some cleanup there, but not necessarily a full abatement of the cleanup that we've asked them to do. And we've also asked them to put back the fence so that it can reduce or at least deter others from coming back into the property.
understood.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can put in the meantime? I mean, some barricades or something that, just so that we don't have an intrusion to the cleanup we're trying to do?
Well, we can put some barricades, but they'll just move it. We can put a brand new fence there. They'll just tear it down and do what they have to do. We've cleaned lots before. A week later, it's back in the same condition. So,
Okay. Well, I trust your judgment, but whatever we can do to not have a car or come in until the owners fix that gate would be
okay,
appropriate.
we can look into putting something over the open section of that.
Exactly, only the open section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the alley, it's adjacent to the alley. So,
Okay, thank
yeah,
you,
we could do something.
thank you.
Okay.
So this is exciting. I'm happy we're finally here. It took a while. It took a long time.
Yeah.
How long has it taken now? What, 3 months?
We're close to about 6 months, right on schedule for an abatement of this size.
Yeah.
3 to 6 months, up to 9 months is considered typical
Okay.
for this scenario. If we had other scenarios, then we're looking at 12 to 18 months, even 24 months.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's also right because there was a ownership situation that had to be addressed before we got to this point.
Agreed. I think that in the case that we had no entry or some refusal from the property owners to enter into the property, or to the extent that the property owner would have been okay with us going in and abating it, then we would have been able to do this almost 2 months ago. However, we are working with the property owner. They understand that the cost for the city to abate it is much more higher than what they would incur if they were to hire their own cleanup crew on their end. So property owner has been very vocal and been very cooperative with us to allow them to hire their own so that they can reduce their costs. They are fully aware and in agreement to abate this. They know that it's an issue. They just want to do it at the lowest cost possible to them. Otherwise, if we were to do it on our end, then we would charge all resources that were deployed to this abatement.
Understood, yes, thank you so much. And I take it Council District 9 is up to date, right?
Yeah, I've been in go ahead.
I'm sure they are. Well, I went there this morning, so if they aren't updated, I will update them.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I want to make sure that City 9 knows that we're continuing to move this along and that has never stopped. It's just, this is the process that it has taken.
Yeah, I've been in communication with Sherilyn Correa at least 2 or 3 times, so she's fully aware. The main concern from them is the actual fence itself, because they want to make sure that it doesn't keep happening over again. But as Mr. Minix has indicated, they erect it and then they take it down, they go back and place it. So perhaps maybe the barricade idea could be a suggestion that we can take a look at. But the property owner knows that they need to place it back, but more importantly, we need to abate the nuisance
Yeah,
this time.
I'm just afraid that in the meantime, there'll be more cars coming in and then it's just going to take us longer to clean up that lot.
That could happen.
Yeah, definitely. So whatever we can do to mitigate that, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Okay?
We'll keep you updated.
Thank you so much for your time and thank you for your work, Fernando, and thank you for your work as well. And I look forward to we take pictures of a very clean lot in there.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. All right, given that we are not taking any voting on this or any action on it, how about we continue it to the week after July 31st, Dr. Campos?
Absolutely. That would be Wednesday, August the 9th.
Okay. Any issues with that? No? Okay, I said that because the cleanup's supposed to have it on the 31st, so on the 9th, we'll be able to hear the great news. Thank you so much, Dr. Campos. Item number 5 is now continued to August 9th. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll go as is. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, number 6. This is a joint report by the Bureau of Engineering, Bureau of Contract Administration, and the Bureau of Sanitation in all council districts for a contract award to Manhole Adjusting Inc., Maintenance Hole Resetting Sewer Storm Drain Project. Recommending the board to, 1, declare Lucas Builders, Inc., second low bidder to be non-responsive as discussed in this report. 2, find the mandatory subcontracting minimum level deviation in the bid from Manhole Adjusting Inc. to be inconsequential and does not result in a competitive advantage, and request to the board to waive it as discussed in this report. 3, declare MAI first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award MAI a contract for the maintenance hole resetting sewer storm drain project for the total base bid amount of $7,525,375 plus $375,000 for the additive alternative. 4, advise MAI that the acceptance of their bid does not constitute the board's approval to deviate from the minimal MSM level in the future bids. And 5, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. It was a little wordy there. Thank you, Ms. Jackson. How are you?
Good morning, Commissioners. Asia Jackson, Assistant Division Manager with Clean Water Conveyance and Sanitation. So I'm here for item 6 for the maintenance hole or Manhole Adjusting Inc. To award them for maintenance hole resetting. This work is a necessary function for sanitation to paved over maintenance holes and that are covered and to prevent hazardous conditions. So this is to maintain access for cleaning and inspection of our maintenance of our 6,700 miles of sewer, but it's also to prevent sanitary sewer overflows and backups so that we have access to do the work that we need to get done. For this contract, there were 2 bids received, MAI, Manhole Adjusting Inc., as well as Lucas Builders. The low bidder was Manhole Adjusting Inc. Regarding the second item in the report, the mandatory subcontracting minimum, the minimum that was set for the bids was 10%. MAI had 8.7, so we're asking for a deviation of the difference of that, which is a 1.3. And I think that's all I have, unless there's any other questions. The contract is for sewer and storm drain maintenance holes, so there are 2 separate funding sources to cover this contract based on if it's sewer or storms.
Okay, I see the wordiness there. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, any objections? Hearing none. Dr. Campos, I understand we have a caller via Zoom. That was only if we had questions, right?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you
Yeah,
very
he's
much.
a representative from Manhole Adjusting Inc.
Correct. And there was no issues with the first bidder, right?
No, from the second low bidder, Lucas Builders, there was no issues.
Okay. Because Lucas Builder was the second low bidder.
Correct, and that we're awarding it to the lowest bidder, which is Manhole Adjusting.
Got it. Understood. So no protest, anything like that. Okay, got it. Clear. Okay, colleagues, is hearing no questions, no objections, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Jackson. Have a good week. Moving on to item number 7. This is a request from the Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council Districts 4, 5, and 10. Contract acceptance, secondary sewer renewal program, DAR 05, Hollywood Wilshire Planning Area. Wait, am I missing? Yeah. Recommending the board to accept this contract. It was so short. I thought I was missing a page.
Oh,
Good morning, sir. Welcome.
good morning. Good morning, George Espindola with the Bureau of Contract Administration. The secondary sewer renewal program, SSRP, DARS 05, Hollywood and Wilshire Planning Area Project was executed by our board on April 13th, 2018 to Ramona Incorporated in the amount of $4,769,397 with a contingency of $238,469 with 85 cents. On May 29th, 2020, your board authorized a contingency increase of $3,706,905, giving a total authorized budget of $8,714,771 with 85 cents. This project consisted of removals and rehabilitation of 5.4 miles of 6, 8, and 12 sewer lines and construction or rehabilitation of sewer structures in the Hollywood Wilshire Community Planning Area in Council District 4, 5, and 10. 39 change orders were executed, increasing the contract amount by $3,209,516 with 83 cents, bringing the total cost of the project to $7,978,913 with 83 cents. Final corrections were completed on November 4th, 2021. Funding was through Wastewater Capital Improvement Program and Sewer Maintenance Fund. BCA's Office of Contract Compliance has found that this contractor has met all the equal employment opportunities and labor compliance requirements of the contract. There are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds. This concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spandola. Any questions, colleagues? Seeing none, is there any objections? Here, seeing none. Vice President Villegas?
Oh, just to move the item.
Great, thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 7 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimously. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Mr. Spandola. Have a good week.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 8, item number 8. This is an administrative item in all council district. The mayor and city council have approved and authorized the Board of Public Works on behalf of the Bureau of Engineering to execute the agreement with the County of Los Angeles for the acquisition of imagery and associated products from the Los Angeles Region Imagery Acquisition Consortium. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Commissioner Reyes to approve item number 8.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam
Great.
Chair, would you like to consider this item to go forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last final, it's an oral report, item number 9, Small Business Academy Progress Update from the Bureau of Contract Administration. And is that Ms. McGlinchey? I see her over there hiding. Good morning, ma'am. We haven't seen you in person.
No, it's been a while. Good morning, Commissioners. Linda McGlinchey with me today. I also have Melissa Savage. She is my new supervisor over certification and leading our Small Business Academy moving forward.
Okay.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. We are presenting today on the annual Small Business Academy. This event happens in the fall annually. It's usually a course of 5 to 9 classes for small business owners to come and learn about what we do and how we can help. We do it in conjunction with our partners, Bureau of Engineering, LA Water and Power, LA World Airports, and the Port of Los Angeles. You have the presentation there with you. It provides small firms with information about doing city business. It also enables a more diverse participation in the public works contracting opportunities and provides a network of support and guidance for Academy participants. The Small Business Academy class of 22 was a virtual setting. It was they were going back and forth with in-person and virtual at that time due to COVID, so it was all virtual. It was 2-hour classes in the evenings, and since it started in 2014, they've had 222 participants and graduates. It also created a series of videos as part of the virtual online thing that they were doing the last couple of years. Those videos are still on YouTube and still get continual traction. So we increase, you can see the current statistics as of last week of the number of people that have seen each of those videos. There are 4 in total. It's called Lighting the Way. And it lets people get kind of information without attending the classes, some basics information that's there. Last year's participation, you can look at who was there. It was 67% women-owned businesses, 17% minority-owned businesses, 58% small business enterprise, and 8% disabled veteran-owned. The next page is the diversity participation over the total course of the series since it started in 2014. As you can see, it varies from year to year depending on whether or not it's a construction focus or personal services focused. But it looks to be about 38% women participation, 45% minority participation in total. On the next page, you'll see contracting updates. The next 2 pages is actually contracts that have been awarded to our graduates. The first page is county, state, and other entities, and the second page is city-specific. From last year's class, there are 3 new ones. They were all other agencies. One was an Air Force contract for INYA Incorporated. One was a Metro video bench for the city of Santa Monica for Alas Media. And also LACCD PMCM contract for SEC LLC. That was a lot of initials, sorry. So we, pass that one. We are currently working on the upcoming Small Business Academy. Our partners, we have our first meeting next week on Tuesday. At that point, we'll figure out our theme for this year and what we want to focus on. We're hoping to do a hybrid event this year. We've gotten a lot of feedback from people as we've been going more in person. Even though people are excited to be in person, they still really like the flexibility of the hybrid model. So we hope to do a first night and a last night in person so people can network, get to meet each other, get to know us, and then a graduation ceremony with the classes in between being hybrid so that more people can attend and have a little more flexibility. So that's it. We're in the planning stages now. We hope to have something available in August or early September for the dates and the programming. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the very last, the 2 pages that highlights the contracts that some of the graduates have received. That's really important, and to see the work that has gone into it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Linda, because I know you've been at the head for this for a very long time. Thank you for that. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas and Dr. Davis, and then we go with Commissioner Reyes.
I just have a quick question. Thank you for your report. It's really thorough. Appreciate it. Just a question on how you solicit the businesses to participate.
Do you want to add in on this? This is my first year, obviously. I just started in March, so I'm going to defer to Linda on that one.
So in terms of participation, we primarily do it through RAMP, but we also share information about it with a bunch of business chambers of commerce and associations. We have a list of, I think it's somewhere around 20 to 25 chambers and associations that will send the information to so that they can share it with their members.
Okay, and just one last question. I won't belabor this much longer, but if a business wants to participate and perhaps they can't do the actual whole track that you may have, Can they just watch these videos and that will be sufficient?
So the YouTube videos are there for anyone to watch at any time. The actual Small Business Academy cohort, we have been recording them. Sorry, we have been recording them. It's my goal really to then take tidbits of those and add them to the YouTube in more digestible segments to make it easier. One of the things that Melissa has suggested or proposed for this year is traditionally we get a lot of applicants, but in person you have to limit. But for the virtual portion, we may look at basically allowing companies to audit. So they wouldn't become a graduate, but if they're not accepted into the cohort, they could potentially view it at least as it happens real time.
Thank you so much.
Especially if there's just one area of interest, they don't have to audit the whole course, so.
Very well. Dr. Davis?
Yes, thank you so very much for this report. The City of Los Angeles is probably one of the most significant organizations economically in the Southern California region because of our capacity and our potential to provide jobs. We often provide individual jobs in various departments, and we do project labor agreements on many construction projects. But what we also do is we provide contracts to small businesses. For me, this is an area of growth for us. When we look organizationally, what the Bureau of Contract Administration does is that we do this Small Business Academy in concert with outreach projects for various communities that make up Los Angeles, whether it's the Asian American community, the Latino community, or the African American community. We do outreach projects that familiarize them with how to do business as well in concert with what you do. In terms of Los Angeles Business Academy, how many sessions do we do annually?
There's one.
We do
I think I
one.
can answer them. She can
We do
punch me in.
one.
We do one a year in
So I
addition
don't
to-
even need to give a dissertation on that. We
Each
do
one is 5
one. We're the second largest city in America. So I'm not going to elaborate. You already know what I could even possibly say. This is an area of growth for the Department of Public Works in general, but in particular, in terms of our capacity to provide more information to more individuals who have businesses. Because I have to often remind people, yes, we do project labor agreements. Yes, we do hire individuals, but we also provide resources for businesses, small businesses in particular. And this is how a lot of people in America in general, in Los Angeles in particular, make their money. Our capacity to create success for them is a great capacity. And I love what you have presented to us. I love the fact that we network. I forgot, what do we call our programs where we go out on the various, accessing LA, we couple with that. That's a great network for right now. But I don't believe we should be comfortable with the current network we have as it relates to our potential and our capacity to provide information and resources to grow and develop our small business community. I think that we can do even more, and I would love in the future for us to look at potential grants to grow the Small Business Academy in the future. I appreciate what you have given us, but I would hope that we could sit down with some thinking about how we can grow this effort. How can we grow resources? How can we further develop small business opportunities in the nation's second largest city? How can we do that? So, but thank you so much for this report, and maybe I can do some thinking along with you about how we can grow Small Business Academy. Thank you.
It's just about piggybacking on Dr. Davis's question, line of questioning. Is it a budget issue? Is it a funding issue? Is it a human resource issue, meaning like bodies? What is it?
Capacity.
I think a little of all of it.
It's primarily a staffing issue.
A staffing
The
issue.
capacity. With that said, though, we do partner, and you may have seen the LA Times article this last weekend regarding Merriweather and Williams and their contractor development. We partner with them. It really started with us, the
Right.
city of LA, and when they talk about officials talking to the cohort, that's been me their last few cohorts.
You're the official.
Yes. So in that respect, we do, we personally are organizing one, but as a city, as BCA, we're participating in two in that respect. Well,
Okay.
and actually Merriweather and Williams does more than one a year.
Okay, and just for context, Merriweather and Williams and yourself, Linda, and myself and BOE, we kind of formed a little task force that we're gonna start on looking more into more opportunities of the community level contract. And so it's Linda McClinchy spearheading that. We just gonna kick off the first one soon to start establishing objectives and so forth. So that's good. I guess my question, my ask, and then I'll go to Commissioner Reyes and on questions, is can we put together a plan that will execute more than one small business academy? And if it's an issue of staffing, let's try to put that into the request of the mayor budget for next year. This is, based on Mayor Bass's, vision of small businesses. This is really where we need to be doing a lot of our work to meet, obviously not just to meet it, but also to be able to open more opportunities for folks, because that is what Mayor Bass is looking for. So I would love to see, maybe I'm going to say very ambitiously every quarter.
Yeah, that'd be
Yikes.
great.
That would
I know they're like,
definitely require more
Look at who
staffing.
we are.
Yeah.
Look at who we are.
All right. How about we start with a quarter and then you guys are going to bring it down from there. But I just think that I agree with Dr. Davis. We are the second largest city in the nation with tons of businesses here, and we do one a year that only allows 40. Perhaps we can open more opportunities. So I would really want you to put that into formalize a formal plan and a staffing request and a budget request for this next coming year then.
And if we have to get a grant from an
That
outside
too.
source,
That would be amazing.
to apply for them. Many of our bureaus to apply for grants. I see this as one such place where that opportunity can help us to achieve the goals of expansion of information to small businesses.
Agreed very much. Maybe outsourcing the classes would be also great. An instructor, maybe you outsource an instructor, maybe because that's the issue. I don't know. Let's put the brains together to figure out how we can be more inclusive with the Small Business Academy. Commissioner Reyes?
Not to belabor what my other colleagues have said, I think the expansion of this Small Business Academy will bring huge opportunities for those small businesses. And it will go in parallel with the Executive Directive 4 that the mayor just released in terms of, identifying and streamlining processes that impede small business participation in the city. So I see this academy as something that will be like a top type of a priority program for BCA. And we could, as Dr. Davis has said, apply for grants or partner with the chambers of commerce or other community-based organizations and make it more of a targeted effort in those areas. We already have the template anyway. So that is, if we need to replicate that in other areas, we can do a pilot of that and make that as part of your recommendation or like next steps. But I want to thank you for, of course, modeling this. This has been ongoing for years. Even when I was at the Department of Water and Power, I know how successful this program is. And so it should not really prevent us. In fact, we should be asking for those resources in order to expand the Small Business Academy. So thank you. And if you need my input on that as well, I'm willing to help you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I think we were pretty clear. We love the program. We love the project. We want to see more of it. That's the message. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the week.
Thank you.
Dr. Campos, have we cleared today's desk?
Yes, you have.
Thank you very much, everyone. It is now 11:28, and this meeting is now officially adjourned. We do have a management meeting that I take it we could take like a 5-minute break and then start. Okay, thank you.